I'm happy for that to happen right now. You're gonna give him what he wants. Lord! It's a simple, but that's the truth. But it is the truth because you're not ready to die in this moment. He is. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what are you gonna do? All that tough guy talk gonna go out the window, and it's just gonna be hand over your shit, unless you want to die right now. And for most people, the answer is no. And it's just, why do you think even the Pope or even all the presidents and prime ministers hide behind all this security and hide behind all these firewalls? Because basically they know if you catch them on day one, just like any other human being, he doesn't want to die. Yeah. He doesn't want to feel no pain. So he give up everything. He give up the fucking nuclear codes if you catch him on his own.
On his own. Unless he's brave enough to just take
that. Why do you think they have to have fucking security and what is it called now? CIA and all them man of blood clot follow president and this and that. They have to keep close tabs on him and eyes on him. Make sure he's not talking to the wrong people because he could go and give up launch code. He could give up. He's holding a lot of information, don't he? Government secrets and this and that. So at the end of the day, of course they have to keep a fucking close eye on him. And they have to know that he's untouchable because you can't have Clinton hostage, even though he's not president no more. You can't tie him up and put him in boot.
Mash up everything.
Yeah, that will mash up everything.
To be fair, he probably if you got in the wrong hands, he'd probably try and kill him before they got away with him.
Yeah, they'd rather that.
They'd rather him dead.
They'd rather that. I'm telling you, because even Bill Clinton is just a puppet in the thing. We think he's someone big, but to them. They've killed bigger than Bill. Don't remember they killed Diana.
He's just a carrier. He's just a message carrier.
Diana was royalty.
Yeah, he's just a message carrier.
So they'll kill anybody. Probably going to kill us for making this thing. Lord!
Well, this is what I'm saying. It's a serious thing, though.
But like I've been talking that ready to die talk. So at the end of the day, it is what it is.
And I suppose in that sense, that's where you can start to understand a bit what Errol's dealing with in a sense. Because if it comes to that stage in life where it's kill or be killed, then...
I don't know. I think it comes...
You know I mean?
I'm going to take it...
That man who started... When black man were getting shot by... Shooting back police and that when man were getting shot by police in America. A trained somebody in it, not just random guy. A fucking marksman. And took out a couple of people. In the world what we live in, innit? Because you have to dance with the devil, don't you, unfortunately?
Well,
they've created
listen,
the world like that.
I sent y'all. If we're on, are we on live and cooking?
We're on now, yeah.
Are we on live and cooking then?
Yeah, we're on live and cooking, Rantz and reasoning.
Because hear what the joke is now. I'm about to mash up everything with this one here right now. Yeah? Dance done. Dance lock up.
Yeah.
Yeah? I sent y'all the fucking Charleston White video to give you a little heads up of what I'm just, and especially so you can watch it. And to tell you the truth, when Errol watches this, when Errol edits this video, yeah, you could dash a little clip of it in so that people know what we're talking about. So at this point here, right now, just watch this 2 seconds and then we are gonna get back to the reasoning. Yeah?
Nothing new is up under the sun, homie. It's just that the people before us was more loyal and committed and got past what they felt. This is a emotionally responsive group of humans. They think what they feel make them right. You have a right to your feelings, but your feelings don't make you right. So most people process their reason and their logic from their emotions, not from facts and what's true. Motherfucker base what they think is logical and reason from what they feel. And no intelligent person does that. No intelligent person does that. They let their feelings subside and then start to try to think. You gotta feel, you gotta think past what you feel. So,
all right. So now you've watched the little clip. Now you hear what he said. Basically, the man said, yeah, as a species or as a people, especially the man them, we become too emotional.
Yeah.
You get me? Because we remember in this thing, you've got logic and you've got emotion. And what we're doing is letting the emotion control decisions
remember you
and
saying
control things. You understand what I'm trying to say? In fact, in most cases, even with myself sometimes, you have to calm down afterwards. That's when the logic comes in. So when you've let the emotions settle and when you've had your little whatever ordeal, that's when your right mind starts thinking and the logic starts coming out. But the truth is, especially as men, we're supposed to know that logic's supposed to override your emotion.
Yeah, because that's a primitive part
Do you
of the
understand?
brain, innit?
Yeah,
where it's just
logic's supposed to
emotion.
override your emotion.
Yeah.
But
Supposed
we
to open up your logic there.
Yeah, and then which brings me to the point which this all ties in as well. The truth be told, if I have to be honest, in this modern generation,
Yeah.
men think like bitches. Sorry, I had to say it. It's your feminine thinking. And again, and the reason why I can say that powerfully is because it's emotional thinking. You're talking from an emotional standpoint. And you're following your emotions. You know what I mean? Chasing your heart. Whereas what logic defines, you kind of like straying away from that. You're doing the opposite of that. So, and then plus as well, when people like myself come with logic or point out the logical parts of a situation, you getting all huff and puff. Oh, he's a dickhead. Oh, fuck, I don't want to hear that. Oh, God, why are you coming with this? And again, more emotion. In fact, is it not fact on fact point that we are now living in a very sensitive environment, a very sensitive community where you said the wrong thing to a person or you even said the little tiniest of things to people and they're going to start bawling, like literally bawling.
You know what I like what he talked about when he explained that, when he was saying about right and wrong. So like with people saying you don't know what the difference between right and wrong is and whatever, but like how he explained it was, because you're thinking of emotion. So you're acting, whatever your emotion tells you, you're saying that must be right. But you're not letting your logical brain or think about what your emotion's feeling to say, is it actually right? And that makes a lot of sense to the modern world that we live in as well, because everybody's allowed to do whatever they want because their emotion tells them that's what I should be doing.
Exactly.
But they've not been no logical kind of thinking of whether it's right or wrong.
Exactly.
If you know what I mean, if that makes sense, that would have one of the most powerfulest
It makes perfect
things
sense.
what is said, what
That's
like
right.
made sense to a lot of stuff what's going off around us in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and let me.
It's just emotional thinking. But then how are we gonna compare it to us again? It comes back to the same thing what I always talk about. It might even be getting boring. But for me, the reason why we've all become this emotional kind of being is because it benefits certain people. Again, going back to the capitalizing and capitalism. When you think of emotions, you're going to want this and you're going to want that. You know what I mean? You see an advert of a car, emotions. It's all breaking off your emotions and it feeds back into that capitalizing and capitalism.
Well, I think
because someone can just feed you emojis, innit? It's feed you into your emotions and get you wanting stuff and getting to behave a certain way, live life a certain way. You know what I mean? You, like you said, sensitive because so-and-so looks like this on social media. I don't look like that. I need to look like that. All different kind of scenarios.
Let's get this clear, yeah? It's a lot of it is down to privilege and spoiltness. Like, obviously, in this country, because we live in this country, or people that live in the Western world, you're very spoiled, you're very privileged. Like, when you go to the poorer parts of the world, they ain't got the time to be so sensitive. And they can't afford to be so sensitive. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And plus, as well, on the same regard, they ain't got, the men especially, they ain't got time to be bitches. And you don't go to poor countries and find the men dressing up as women and all this stupidness or really bothered about piercings and this and that. They're busy trying to feed their family and trying to take care of the real responsibilities that abide. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So basically, what I'm ultimately saying is a lot of the women are masculine now and a lot of the men are very feminine now. There is not much male energy left, to be fair. And plus the male energy, especially like you said with the current climate of things, is frowned upon. Because remember, Andrew Tate and them man were trying to bring back a bit of masculinity into this thing. And look what they did to him. They kind of shut him down, and they're kind of saying that that's not part of their agenda right now. But the truth be told is,
I don't really know a lot about Andrew Tate still, to be fair.
yeah, I'm gonna elaborate a bit. Not on the Andrew Tate, just on the emotions. Because one big emotion, what my brethren have like kind of opened my eyes to and been reasoning with me about recently is fear. Fear is one of the emotions that drives us all into the current problem state what we're in. And the truth is, we all feel it and we all have it. And the worst thing about fear is, there might be some idiot tough guys out there what thinking, no sir, me no fear nothing, and me no fear no man, and rare. But the truth is, that's just fear talking in itself. Because at the end of the day, there's all different kinds of levels of fear. And I'm going to give you an example. Like even the fear of embarrassment, or the fear of
failure,
the fear of looking, again, it's all embarrassment, innit? Like for example, I dress like a tramp when I'm at my house, or when I'm like
You won't come out on the road like
but
that.
I wouldn't come out on my road like that. And if I'm gonna
We-
mead a wall, or if
yeah,
I'm going somewhere
have to put on
public
things.
place, yeah, I feel like I have to present myself in a certain way.
Yeah,
and again, it's that
It's an
fear
element of
it's
fear,
just, just loads of fear, isn't there? Even the fear that people are gonna think I'm broke and that that I ain't got no money no more, and I'm jobless or homeless.
You know what
or
I listened to
whatever.
one time, and I could understand what they were saying. It might not be that easy to understand for everybody, but I remember even a reasoning where like they were saying that people fear becoming ill. But not because they fear illness, because they fear like everybody knowing that, oh, you know, Benty's got such and such, like, you know what I mean?
Even that,
so you
there's
fear that kind of
shame as well.
Shame
It's
of
the
it, like a shame
the
thing.
shame is a big
You know what I
fear
mean?
what we all
It's not
hold.
even what you can control, but you just like dread like that kind of talk going on about you.
Even fear of being laughed at. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like at school, nobody wants to be the butt of the joke where everyone's going, ah. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
So that's where peer pressure. So you try and fit
all these
in
things,
it,
even
yeah.
even on TV now, like even getting knocked out or certain, like nobody wants.
Well, what about the fear?
that.
What about the fear of isolation? So, like we're saying, back to capitalizing again, control. Because if you fear being left out,
Exactly.
you don't want to be the knobhead. Oh, look at him, he's
That's
a
what I'm
fucking
trying to
square,
say.
or he's alone, or
This
he's
is
this
it.
and that. So then you end up, oh, you know what I mean? You end up going drinking 10 pints, you end up going do whatever you need to do to kind of look like you're somebody in the. But really, you might be like, fucking, I'm not into all this shit.
And
You know
there's
what I mean?
the
So
fear,
everything's fear driven.
and there's the fear of like even the not wanting to fight back, or the, you know, viewing them as a big high power that you can never conquer, or that you can. Basically, it's like the David and Goliath scenario, anyway. It's like they're trying to say, I'm a big mammoth giant, and you're just a little itty bitty midget. So how can you ever think about talking to me? I can't even hear you up here. I'm so high up, I can't even hear you up here. When the truth is, again, all that is fear, because is that not what bullies do? Like even at school, you got the big bad bully, and then you got the little weak nerd, and he just wants to keep that illusion going that I'm the all powerful, broke you up anytime.
Yeah, but he's
and
the
you're
most
the
he's the
little-
most frightened one. That's why it's become like that.
Exactly.
But that's what
Plus-
even Tyson says, isn't it?
Yeah,
When he would have
he was the most
shitting
frightened
himself.
one, and plus as well, I'm sure we've all had the experiences where
It makes
we've actually seen people stand up to bullies, and it is the funniest sight to
No,
ever
I'll give you a
witness
good
in-
one.
it's
I'll
the
give you a good
funniest
one
sight.
because we all know, don't we, guys, that we've all come to that realization, understanding by now. Anyway, a lot of the movies what we're watching, that there's more to them than what meets the eye. What we used to think when we were kids, they're putting certain messages out there with the movies. It's not conspiracies. It's come to light for everybody now. But for example, Star Wars, Darth Vader, innit? When you get the backstory of him, it was Anakin, weren't he? But he become weak. He become like that because he feared, didn't he?
Yes.
Because the people, them, what the Jedi, them,
Yes.
you're not supposed to have no fear. So that's why his finger infiltrated, because he had the fear. And then the fear turned him into the baddest person again,
dark
didn't it?
side.
Darth Vader?
But then, if you notice, the full conclusion of the story is he ended up coming back to the
It's a
right side.
serious movie,
He,
you know,
he
when
ended up
you-
coming back to the right side of thinking in the
Yeah.
end, because he was the one what turned over the
Yeah,
the
he
emperor
knows
in
the
end.
real thing.
Do you understand what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say? So it is a.
So
Funny,
he
but I
ended
don't
up-
want to start talking about Star Wars, because
No, we're not talking about
thinking
Star
that was
Wars.
some super geeks watching Star Wars. I'm not on that. But we're talking real shit here. So what I'm saying to you is this, yeah. At the end of the day, not only is it time for men to start to admit that we're becoming pussy. There's no other ways about it. You're becoming feminine. All your bitching, all your mourning, all your conversations, what you're having about this and that, the way you're feeling, all in my feelings and all so sensitive. Like, that's not manly shit. And you know one way how I know that, right, is one, I think when you go to prison and that's where you have to stop all that feminine behavior, because feminine behavior in prison not going to get you very far. But also when you step into real fighting gyms, like either real boxing gyms or real Thai boxing gyms, like I know my Thai boxing gym, and this is something that I had to get used to, like they ain't into no feminine shit. And they definitely ain't into no bitching, moaning, whining, complaining. You get laughed at. You just get mocked at. They just see you as a bitch.
I would ask the question still, does everybody know what it is?
What is masculinity?
Yeah. Because as much as everyone,
well, that's how scarce it is. That nobody knows what it looks like. Yeah. But what I would say to you,
because even guys in the gym and that, as you know yourself, a lot of them go through like depression or suicidal thoughts. Or,
we're not talking bodybuilding gym here.
No, I talk about boxing gym and that.
No. Them what I've tend to find in them.
It's physically masculine, you know, and this that don't make you a man.
About the mindset because you find this most people, martial arts. And them type of things give you a discipline. And actually, it tends to benefit people's life as opposed to hold people down. Like even Tyson Fury and them man have recently admitted in the press that it's boxing he's used to help him come out of his depression and come out of his madness. So it's actually, you'll find, it's the opposite. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? It's not, that's not turning people mad, that's saving people. That's making people sane. That's giving people confidence.
It can help to do it,
that's giving people... upliftment. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? But all I know is this, like someone gave me an example today. This is what someone said to me. Someone said, I took my brethren to the gym, Thai boxing for the first time, yeah? And the guy must have been doing sparring or doing something and he's hurt, he feels like he's pulled a muscle in his leg. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? After the session now, he's like going, oh, I think I've pulled a muscle in my leg. The teacher's gone like that. Can we get a big, for a big baby, he's pulled a muscle in his leg. Oh, can we get a hug? And everybody's looking like you're a fool because basically what they're trying to say, and especially if you think about it, as I was trying to explain to my people, this is warrior shit. Like if you're in a fight and you fucking hurt your leg or you've pulled a muscle in your leg, you don't stop. And the guy's not going to stop pounding your head in just because you're going, my leg. In fact, just think about it. The fight's kind of over if you do that. So if this guy whacks you in your leg and it really, really hurts, and you start going, my leg, but that fight's done because first I'm going to clap you, then I'm going to thump you, and then that fight's over. Yeah. So really and truly, that's what they're saying about warrior shit. And even if you're tired, like same thing in the gym, you're like, I can't do no more. They'll just say, listen, stop all that, get it done. And the reason why, same thing again, if you're in a fight, do you think you're gonna go, just wait 2 seconds, let me just catch my breath. Soon as you run out of breath or soon as you're done, the fight's done and you're done. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So you better man up and you better deal with this shit. And that's why I know now these skills are transferable to life. Because all these excuses and all these things, what you I can't do it because this, and oh no, it's a mighty big enemy.
Resilience,
you're just chatting shit. It's pussy shit. Yeah. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
But what I'm saying now in a sense, what they're asking about finger, because for me, not, you know what I mean, not every man what's they're about and is still classed as a man and masculine. Not necessarily is going to be into physical martial arts.
It's not about martial arts, it's just about a mindset.
It's the mindset.
Just about a mindset.
But then it's back to, like my favourite word, I've promoted all the time, my favourite word is clear. My favourite word is balance. So for me, it's like still finding that balance, because a lot of the male suicide and a lot of the issues with mental health and all them what's around in current days is because not enough talking between each other. You understand me? So if we go back to that mindset where it's just like extra masculine and you hold all your pressure and you don't talk to nobody and you just get on with it and you man up and you this and that, then that's where you slip into that kind of behaviour where everyone's keeping all this stuff to themselves. So there's got to be a balance, because I don't think that being masculine don't mean a man can't talk, because even though you're a man, you've still got emotions. You're a human being. You understand me? But you might have to contain some to get a certain task done, but you still got feelings. You understand me?
You have, but and I hear what you're saying. Like I'd never dismiss the argument, but that in itself is a kind of feminine way of thinking because it's all reasoning and again touching into people's emotions, saying, well, yeah, but if you feel like this or if you feel like that, when the truth is a man's job is to roll up his sleeves and get that shit done, regardless. Like even me, I have to go to work in the morning, regardless. Well, it's not about whether I want to or whether I have a desire to or whether I like it. I've got people to provide for. I've got people what I'm responsible for.
I think there's a balance. I think there's a balance, though.
You're gonna have to go through the fire, unfortunately, to get what I'm trying to say. And all them excuses and reasons.
Well, I would say
I'm tired and I'm this and I'm that, which all probably is true.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And you are allowed to feel those things.
Yeah. We got to hold it down a bit.
Yeah, but what you got to understand is this: pressure makes diamonds. So as much as you might feel like the world is crumbling down everything's crumbling down against you, and that's what the gym knows, and that's why the gym does this to you, because they're almost trying to break you to rebuild you
to fight
to something stronger. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So it don't matter what situation you're in, you should be thinking to yourself, and this is another thing now where they're talking about L's are not really L's, are they? They're just lessons. Or if that L stands for lesson, then that's fine. But there is no such thing as an L. So it doesn't matter what you're going through or what adversity what you're facing. This needs to be the thing what we're promoting. You're supposed, that's why they even said, don't they always say to you, you're supposed to dust yourself off and get on with the journey then. That's what you're supposed to do. Any dwelling or any longness,
it's gonna hold you back.
It's not really worth it. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And plus as well, you can't be thinking about like, sometimes I think about the way our boxers feel. Like if I lost a fight, okay, I lost the fight, but that don't mean I've lost in life or I've lost the war. I might have lost the battle, but I didn't lose the war. So that means I can still go home, I can study that game footage, I can see what I went wrong, I can see what his strengths and his weaknesses are, and I can come back in the rematch and I can boss his ass, which we've seen that happen quite a few times. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So we know it's possible. That's why people rate man like Lennox Lewis and all them, man. Because Lennox Lewis, I think he's lost either twice or 3 times in his career. But every time he's lost, he's rematched the man and he's bossed the man's ass. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So that proves
that's why I didn't get with Naz. Because Naz just guilt with Bear, didn't have to bear.
which is his prerogative. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? But you see the type of ratings what you get when you show that type of... Even no disrespect to Danny Dubois. Do you know what I mean? Where he's gone down on his knee. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not a warrior. So I'm with Danny Dubois. I go down on mine. Like, if you break my eye socket and smash half off of my face, I'll say, no more. I don't want no more. I'll openly tell you that. But in that business what he's in, the warrior
you're not
business,
supposed to do that, yeah.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I respect man like Wilder. What at the end of the day, Wilder went out on his face, which... you might broke joke on, and again, people might do that. You got knocked the fuck out. But the truth is, he didn't stop until you had to stop him for him to stop. It's just that simple. To get
some man are built like that.
But that is the warrior mentality. And if you're blessed like that, then you should be a boxer. But if you're not blessed like that, then I bet you go and find a different career path or a different job, because obviously that is for gladiators. That is for beasts, warriors. Do you know what I mean? No point getting in there unless if you're not built from that cloth. That's why I don't get in there. Because like I said,
we can build characters.
I'm going to go down on my knee. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So it don't make sense me going to that field. But other people, what's more warrior-like, and even the fact that I'd said that I go down on my knee, that's pussy. Like, that shows I'm not just throwing everybody under the bus. Like, I come in that.
Yeah, but you can overcome that, can't you? If you go and train and you go and take in certain disciplines or whatever, you can get.
The only way to overcome it, the only way to overcome it is to do it. So basically, you're gonna have to put yourself in that. And then overcome it.
Yeah, and go back to it. Yeah.
Do you understand? Or basically be put in some like really adverse situations and you get used to that. Well, once you get used to it, then obviously you're going to be comfortable, you're going to be nice. But it's that initial fear in it. And again, we're going to use the word fear. Remember when I went to do my motorbike thing? For a start, enough people are scared of motorbikes, full stop.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And I'd never ridden a motorbike before in my life. So even though I booked it, I started to get kind of anxious when it comes to the day. You know, when it comes to the actual day, when they're like, yo, you're going to get on this thing right now.
Yeah.
And I've seen people like rev it anything, yank them way and all kind of something.
And
So
go and lift
obviously,
up.
yeah, I'm getting on the bike and really and truly, I
a
don't
bit
know what's going to
nervous,
happen next.
yeah.
Because as much as I'm thinking, I hope everything's going to be all
Yeah.
right. The truth is, this bike could yank me off, flick me off, anything. Do you understand?
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, now I ride bikes confidently. I
Yeah.
don't even think about none of that shit.
Yeah.
And I remind my children, it's the same thing where I've been through that process with them regarding stabilizers. Like
Yeah.
when you first take the stabilizers off the
It's
bike,
frightening.
they're afraid like puss. They're thinking, oh
But not
my God.
really, there's different emotions, isn't it? There's nervous, there's anxious,
Anxious,
there's
yeah,
this,
you know
that.
what I mean.
So there's different levels.
It's the unknown in it
Unknown.
because they don't know.
No, you're gonna go
what the
flying,
bike-
yeah.
They don't know what the bike, and they don't know when.
Yeah.
So they don't even know. I could be cruising nice
how I would
now.
explain it is like any emotion, and that's what I was saying back to man again. Man have got all the emotions, but I suppose what it is, it's about learning how to control your emotions. Because fear is put in your body
Exactly.
for the survival. Fear is for survival.
Exactly.
So if you're walking through the bush and a fucking lion steps out on you,
That's not
your
fear. It's danger.
Yeah, but it's that sense, innit? The fear triggers the sense of danger. If you haven't got no fear, then you'd see the lion and just go and try and stroke it or something. So all these emotions are like to do with survival. Everything's to do with survival.
basically. And just remember this
that's
as
all
well.
that living
Fear is
things
not-
just live to survive, try and survive
Just so we
until
can
it's
say
time
for
to
the
death.
record as well, fear is not real. Like fear only exists in your mind. That is the truth. Do you understand?
Yeah,
what I'm
you
saying?
create fear.
You
Yeah.
can't touch it, you can't feel
Yeah.
it, you can't smell it.
And
It
that's
doesn't
you get fear
exist.
for experiences.
Yeah,
so
you've
like you might
created
end
it.
up with a fear of spiders because when you were 2-year-old, one crawled around your face or something,
Yeah.
or you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
really and truly, if that never happened, you wouldn't be afraid of spiders. You know what I mean? It's just like, but again, it's to do with survival, innit?
It is.
So then a baby, if you lift up your hand to a baby at first, it don't really know what's happening. Till it take the leak now, then it says blood clot, we get one leak, that's so, you know what I mean? And after that, now it's like you fear the hand raising.
Yeah. But
So it's all learned
the same thing what is
experiences.
learned can be unlearned. Because remember, you
Yeah.
are the creator of the fear. Or should I say, you are
It's harder to unlearn.
you are in control of the imagination. So at the end of the day, if you've programmed yourself to fear a certain thing, you can also unprogram yourself to fear a certain thing. Plus, it's mindset as well. Like one of the reasons why I think I did so well on the bikes is because I had the mindset to do it. Like I was determined to do it. I went down there with a purpose.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And I wasn't going to let nothing stop me from that purpose. Do you understand? So that's why I was successful, and that's why I was able to overcome the fear. A lot of times why people don't overcome the fear is because they don't really have a true desire to overcome the said fear. Like I can guarantee you, if it's something that you care about or something that you're passionate about, then you will take the necessary steps towards overcoming that fear because your desire for the thing is greater than the fear. It's like the fear is that big, but your desire is that big. So obviously it's going to get nyam. But when it's the other way around, when your fear is that big and your desire's tiny, then obviously you're always going to get consumed by the fear. You get what? So people got to change the desires and change what they want in order to be able to overcome the fears. And one of the main fears that we have to stop telling ourselves all the time is that like we can't win or we can't succeed, or you know, it's always that oh black people, always like, you know, oh black people chuffing all this, oh we're rubbish, we're crap. Maybe as a whole we are crap, but the truth is we have the capabilities and the possibilities of always
More
being
than,
better,
more
being
than,
much
more than,
and we
more
know
than.
that, everybody knows
Everybody
that, but yet
knows
we
that.
still, the fear keeps us all compelled and confined into this little tiny box, and it's in that box where we're getting controlled. And at the end of the day, we need to have the, I said balls, we need to have the stones, the cojones to bust out of that thing. And the worst thing is it's a beautiful thing when you bust out of that thing. The way I would describe it is like this. Imagine, which some of us have been in this scenario, imagine you're in an abusive relationship, a horrible relationship, but you love the person, and for whatever reason, maybe you've got kids or whatever, you can't leave the person. And you've been with that person so long, you can't see past that person. Like you can't imagine your life without that person. But then when you actually split from them, and as painful and as heart-wrenching and as tear-jerking as it is, when all that settles, you actually start to realize, yo, Dan,
What we're doing.
this was the best thing ever. And plus, what was I doing all that time with this fool? Wasting my life, wasting everything. And that, I believe that will be the same scenario where, like, right now we're in the midst of the relationship and You love the abuser, you love the oppressor, and you're finding it very difficult to let go because it's all you know. All you've known is the abuser, all you've known is the oppressor. But at the end of the day, I can promise you on God, when you free yourself from this oppressor, and when you free yourself from his shackles, what he's put around your mind, your life is going to go from this to this. And you'll be looking back thinking, why, how did I ever live in that tiny little box for so long? Like a fool. And the way I can explain it is kind of like a bird trapped in a cage. Remember, in the West, they don't see nothing wrong with having a bird live in your yard in a cage, you know. But the truth is, I don't think there's any more worse cruelty than that to any living creature. You're going to put a bird, what flies, what belongs in the sky, you're going to make it just live in the cage. And all just because you want to look at it, you think it looks pretty. Do you know what I mean? Well, they're kind of doing the same to us, where it's like, you were meant to fly. You were meant to be soaring high, high, high. You meant to feel the wind beneath your wings. You're supposed to be able to go wherever you want, do whatever you want. And instead, they got you living in this little tiny box on the little hamster wheel, going round and round each month. And yeah, it's time to snap out of it, because if we don't, then it's going to be more than L's. In fact, to tell you the honest truth, when does an L become a point where, like, I can officially just say you're pussy, and I can just officially say you're thick as fuck? Because it comes down to the, like, how many times would you let a dog bite you before you move, or before you remove yourself from the dog, or before you kill the dog or kick the dog or do something? But all I know is this: I'm not going to keep coming here and your dog keeps tearing off my leg. Once is normally enough for a guy like me, to tell you the honest truth. But twice, if your dog gets me twice, I can almost categorically promise you that dog won't get me again. I'll kill your dog next time I come here. That's what's most likely to happen. So if you keep going back to the abuse and back to the abuse and back to the abuse and back to the abuse, then it starts to become as like, it's not the abuser what's got the problem, it's you.
Well, that is an element of the abuse, though, isn't it? That is a what do you call it?
Yeah.
That's something. It's part of the abuse. You end up being like used like, to the abuse.
Yeah,
you want to be abused, kind of. You get addicted to
the
it.
Abuse.
So it's a bit more psychological than that.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to really look at yourself, and even us, all of us, are gonna have to really look at yourself. If you got to think to yourself, one, you're addicted to the abuse, and you're addicted to the abuser.
Yeah.
And here's what's most worse: you start to catch emotional feelings for the abuser,
him,
just like
the relationship.
There's nothing new under the sun, as you said earlier. There's nothing new under the sun, and at the end of the day, even in slave times, did the slaves not love and admire the slave masters? They wanted to live in the big house, and they wanted to eat all the meals round the table, and they wanted to have cars like the big man and do whatever they want, but you couldn't. You just had to look from the field and admire. And we're doing the same. Oh, I want the Rolls Royce, I want the big billionaire, I want to be like Elon Musk, but you just have to look from the field and admire. But it's true, it's right. And just like in that film Django, where the man said, look, there's 40 Negroes on this farm right now, and there's 3 white men. Why haven't they overthrown us and run us out of the place? Why not? And there's only one simple answer for that: fear. They've already imagined 3 steps ahead. They're like, well, if I do this to him, then they're going to do that to me, and then that resolves in my head being on a stick. Which is all too much thinking, all too much reasoning, and all too much this and all too much that. Because again, another rule is, where do you think you're going to go where you're safe from death, Dan?
Yeah, this is the thing. Yeah.
This is the big thing. Everyone's like, wants to preserve life. Like, I'm going to go over here because it's safe over here. Like, bro, nowhere's safe. People die. There's no region of the world where people don't die. So I don't know if you think you're going to move to Sri Lanka or move to I'm going to move back to Jamaica and live nice. Like, you still could die there. You can die anywhere. Do you understand what I'm trying to... And plus as well, you can die anytime. So even though you say like, no, I don't want to get into no confrontation, and then God just gives you an aneurysm on the chair, you just... and that's the end of it. So what is it that you really think you're doing? And plus, you have to be ready. Like, suppose death is going to come for you right now or tonight. Because remember, no one's promised tomorrow. So I know you're going to bed thinking, oh yeah, it's Thursday tomorrow, I'll be all right. that's not necessarily guaranteed. And if death does come to visit you tonight, are you ready? Like, are you really going to confront it? Or are you one of them thinking like, no, I'm not quite ready. Tomorrow, innit? Come check me tomorrow. Where really, as a
fear
man,
of dying, innit, as well?
as a man, you supposed to be ready anytime, because like a man said to me, like, I show you this video, right? The dad comes home at about 12:30 at night, and the son sat down like basically almost gonna sleep, watching some movie. And the dad pulls out the sword and he's like, time for training now. And the son's like, what do you mean time for training now? It's 12:30, I'm getting ready to go to my bed. He goes like, John, there's no bed. If an intruder turns up right now, you're gonna have to fight right now. Even if you're in your Jimmy Jams, even if you're all comfied up in bed with your missus, you're gonna have to get up out of that bed and you're gonna have to fight. So that means you should be ready to fight at all times, or you should be ready to go at all times, because death can come to you at any time and you can't be unknown. To be honest with you, in this modern world what we're in now, I can see intruders coming to the yard and man even sending the girl downstairs, or man even not even wanting to fucking go downstairs full stop. Be like, yo, babes, what's that? Go down there now. Go look for me now. You know what I mean? Where the truth, that's how pussy, that's how bitch, and that's how rewind everything's become. Because the truth of the matter is, like I said, especially when you've got a family and you've got kids and all them things.
You should step up.
We could get the call anytime. And everybody talks all that brave stuff. I'll die for my kids, mate. I'll do all for my kids, mate. Die for them, honest, I would. You wouldn't. Some mums would, like, I believe like there's some mums out there, if you've seen a car run over your kid, then you would find the strength to lift that car off the kid because you love the kid so much and you want them to survive. But I know there's many people, what if it comes to you having to actually dead to save these kids? And plus I ain't seen no sign of that, because again, we all claim that we care about the kids and that the kids' future and all this and that, and we want the best for our kids' future, but we're living with the abuser, and you're living in a very abusive situation. So if you cared anything about your kids, you'd sort that out, wouldn't you? But clearly the fear and all that holds you back. And they'll be all right. I'll tell you what, rather than confronting the beast and conquering the lion, I'll create this cotton wool world and I'll wrap them up in cotton wool so that nobody can harm them. And then what you end up doing is harming them yourself, because you wrapped them in cotton wool and you've let them live a sheltered life.
Yeah, so what, like I was saying again, they're just going to protect, it's become a thing where, and that's why I'm one advocate for, like I'm saying again, about whether it's organisation or whatever, but a movement as in like people, masses in that, because what's happened is now with the same situation what you're saying, everyone looks after their little corner, don't they? So your kids are going to be all right. And I said this a long time ago, what happens is you look after your little kids, them 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever you've got, and you grow them up and protect them and everything's crisp, and you make sure you don't see that, they make sure you don't see this and make sure you don't do that. When they become adults or young adults, they're going to go into a community where everything what you've not wanted them to see, they're going to see. So if we've not sorted out everything, it's like you're going to be starting all over again, because your kids are going to fall into it. So you can save your little corner as much as you want. The truth be told, if we're not looking at everybody,
and that's why I said it takes a community to raise kids. And what you're saying there is exactly, it's 100% right. Because how many of us is that the truth for, where we could say, your parents didn't raise you like that. Like nobody in your family or your people showed you that. You learned that from road. You got that when you started to associate out there. So obviously it's clear it's the responsibility of the parents and it's the responsibility of the community to fix out there, so that when our kids are going out there, they're not seeing all these bad influences and they're not seeing all these bad things and they're not getting led down a bad path. But everybody just feels like, well, that's not my responsibility. That's not. When truth is, back in the day, remember, it used to be everyone's responsibility. Because I remember grandparents used to be saying things like, even if they see somebody else's youth, they get in a clip and they'll send them on back, scruff it here, take them to parents and say, you know, I've seen your little bastard doing. And even the mum will give them a second set of beating. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So you definitely know that, like, you can't get away with no fuckery in the community, because if my Auntie Janet sees me, or if that black woman there,
I think what we've done again, something what's probably a mistake. What we've done, instead of building that over the years, and a few generations are guilty as well, it goes back a little while, we've decided that it's safer to come out of the community. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's why we're just scattered about and everyone's doing their own little things and whatever, because it's like, instead of building that community, everyone's decided that they're going to try and run away from it. But truth be told, again, there's no running away from it, is there?
No, and plus I want to make this clear as well. Like, this doesn't really just apply to black people, and this conversation is not only regarding black people. When I say community, it is the community. And we are all one people or one community. Like, I don't really want to start looking at different colours and different this and different genders. Like, we are just people.
Yeah, I'm not sure though, you know.
Come together as people.
I'm not sure though, you know. I think you've got a universal umbrella of people, but we're in a, whether it's supposed to be like that or not, we're in a position in life, in development, world development, where you have different groups of people and they come together to make successes of their people. Then they go out into the wider world with their success, what they built up, you know what I mean? I think with us, we go out the wider world, but we're not going there with what we've already built. So then you're susceptible to anything, aren't you? You're going to get dragged into anything. You can be vulnerable to going into anything because you've not really got you wanting to look to join other people's stuff. But like I said, whether we like it or not, reality of it is races organise themselves. You understand? Yeah. The only race at the minute what don't really have a proper organised way of and unified way of thinking and working and talking and walking is us. Like we said before we started rolling, a lot of our creations come off the back of creativity, organic creativity. Like on the spur of the moment, you know, someone strings up a sound that becomes sound system business. Someone grabs a mic and starts rapping on the street, that becomes hip hop. Someone starts dancing, that becomes break dancing. But we don't like have an organized, like what we're gonna do with this break dancing then. We've created this, what we're gonna do. Somebody else comes in and does that. Oh, they've created this break dancing. A lot of people enjoy it and like it. We're gonna do this with it. You understand what I'm saying? So, like even hip hop is an example that gets created, and it starts creating a buzz. MTV find out about it, get involved. They make it into a business. You understand? So and I think it's partly to do. My belief is partly back to that capitalist argument again. My belief is partly reason why we're not the best at it is because it's not our creation. Capitalism is not one of our creations. Because a lot of things what we create are for the benefit of, again, people. If you notice, a lot of our stuff, what we've created is for everybody to enjoy, is to, you know, for everybody to get involved in enjoying. Whereas capitalism and all them kind of systems and all that, they're for people to, a small amount of people to get big off.
Siphon off the world.
So we're not really used to it. But we live in a capitalist world, so we have to kind of incorporate how it works in order to navigate. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I don't disagree, but what I'm saying is this. We are on here speaking universal truths. And if the universal truths, that means it applies to us all. Like for example, we all need healthy communities and positive communities. It doesn't matter what background you're from or what nation you're from. Because then, as we said before, like for example, there's your community, but then there's also the wider community. And this is why it's everybody's responsibility, because I'll give you an example. Let's say I fix up the whole of Britain, or look, it's not Britain. Let's say I fix up the whole of Sheffield, but then I choose to neglect all the other places, Leeds, Barnsley, Rotherham, all these places. Then I'm all right as long as I stay in Sheffield.
Yeah, once you move out,
obviously, also, I'm all right as long as none of them people come to Sheffield.
Yeah.
Which obviously, if anybody's got any intelligence, you'll know that the two things, it's not going to last forever. At one point, you're going to want to leave Sheffield, and at some point, people are going to want to come to Sheffield.
Yeah.
So the outer world is also your responsibility, because if you don't, like for example, if we're all goody two shoes over here, but then we've let people become aggressive and have their horrible lifestyles over there. What do you think is going to happen when the two book up? They're just going to mash you up.
Well,
it's just a simple.
Or not even that. People going to come for the shit. So you know what this is, people.
Yeah, they're going to rub you. They're going to do whatever.
This is a good way of like explaining to people why the immigration argument and all that, where everybody gets involved, is a load of shit. Because that's what's happening for me in this country. we've had a time when we've had everybody's things and everybody's land and everybody's whatever. It only is a matter of time before people come back for the things. So whether they come in violence or they come in peace, they're gonna come at some point. You know what I mean? So you can't hold everybody's shit and expect that people aren't gonna come back for it at some point.
Exactly. So it was all wrong in the first place.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of wrongs that need righting because again, they're doing some bully boy tactic again. I'm glad you made that point because this is a definite point. What black people cannot deny. we have to register it right now, today, right? Dave took your shit, and here's a joke. They're not denying taking your shit. Sorry, let me say that again. Dave took your shit, and they ain't denying taking your shit.
Well, I know what you're going to say.
But here's a joke.
We're not going back.
Telling you that we're not giving it back.
Yeah.
You ain't getting it back. And to me, that is, we're all on a street level or we're all on a we're on a commoner's level. Yeah, so you know what it's like when like somebody takes your chain and then you know who's took your chain.
You have to defend it, innit?
You go and say, yo, it's such and such, can you get the chain back? And mama says, you ain't getting no chain back. Like, yeah, I took it.
So it's decision time,
it's around
innit?
my neck right now, bitch. Yeah, like, what you gonna do? And we know, what does it say if you leave the man with the chain and you don't do nothing and he gets to walk off with your chain and you walk off with no chain? Then basically, it's one of them like, I smell pussy. Because obviously, he's a bigger force to you. That's what you're saying. You basically scared to fuck with this man. So he has to keep your chain. Or basically, another time, what normally happens in them situations is, he's took your chain, so you're supposed to go and check a big man on road and let him go and get the chain back for you. But if you haven't got that connection or if you haven't got that type of link, then obviously you're just going to have to get nyam, aren't you? Now, in this situation, the problem with black people in this situation is they took your shit and there ain't no big homie that you can go and say, yo, Bridget, I beg you, just go and talk to him and get my gold back or go and get my things back, which means only two options. Either get it back yourself
or leave it alone.
Go and cry in the corner like a little bitch.
Leave that alone.
Plus, what have we chosen to do? Go cry in the corner like a little bitch. So every road, every avenue leads back to you pussy. Or you scared.
Until you prove that you're not,
don't
innit?
be scared.
Until you prove that you're not.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And the main thing is this, and then I noticed this is like, black people are the most religious people, most talking ass, Jesus ass people you could ever meet in your life. But they're all scared to death. Even me, I'm not going to lie, I'm scared to death. But what I noticed about the other nations is when it comes to their nation or when it comes to their pride and all that, they're dead for that. No problem. Absolutely no problem. They'll rip the esophagus out your throat.
Yeah.
If you
a lot of them,
anything
about their nation,
resembling their nation. But yet black people now,
we don't stand for anything, do
and
we?
even though we will like thump people down, it might even give people two joke or give people two
we don't
shock.
really stand. We're not standing
you ain't
for no.
prepared to die.
We're not
And once
standing
ever you're
for
not prepared to die, then you're always gonna lose in a battle. If you've got an opponent that's prepared to die in that ring, and then you've got somebody who really don't want child, the victors, it's just like, it's not even a competition, is it really? But normally what happens when you get one guy that's ready to die and meets an equally challenging force that is also ready to die, what happens then? You tell me. Normally it's back down. Normally it's stalemate. Normally, in fact, even a respect is formed in that point there, because really no parties want to rush to proceed when they know that like this is the real deal. We're not talking we're not talking no stupidness. So most people just come to a truce or come to some kind of compromise or conclusion. It's the same rule as what happens when the unstoppable force meets the unmovable object. One of them has to surrender. This is just very simple. Otherwise, you're going to be there forever.
Well, you know the same thing. You know, in that Charleston reason again, and this is where we're probably all guilty. But again, we're all learning, aren't we? Because we're born into a world what was already confused already.
Exactly.
Even though it's more confused now, but the era what we brought up in, it still was confusion going on. Probably didn't see it as much as that. When you look back at it a bit now, you can see that it was creeping in. It was already setting in. But he was saying like part of the masculinity. He was saying like marriage and that is part of the masculinity, innit? And a lot of us, obviously, me included, like toss it off, like what we need to get married for. But he's saying that is part of the thing. You get me?
Let's say,
and the fact that we like tossing it off and saying marriage and nothing is like, that's part of the wrong mentality. You know,
Yeah, but he says it's part of the weakness because he actually
Part
said
of
in
the
that
weakness,
video,
yeah.
he said we're not strong enough
to deal with the marriage.
he didn't even say marriage. He said we're not even strong enough to deal with real love.
Yeah, love.
Because
That was it.
Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, most people
As
are
it's ups
thinking
and
about-
downs.
are thinking about what you can get from love, but actually, love seems to be more about what can you take, because most people go through like it's an arduous journey. It's an arduous task.
With some
loving
deep-
a person
yeah,
with
yeah,
some
yeah.
deep challenges and things that you're gonna have to go through. And most of us are so pussy that we can't. And plus,
Yeah.
as well, society is telling you.
This,
You got
yeah.
a right
So
to
that,
be
yes,
happy.
exactly
And
what I would, yeah.
you must be happy at all times. And if you're not happy 24 hours a day, then
Right.
you have the right.
So again, it's
to
that
do what
manipulation
makes you
again,
happy and to
yeah.
free, liberate
And fuck off from
yourself.
your wife.
Yeah.
Or go and get 10
leave
woman.
Your children, we've got CSA.
Or go to the strip club. Or go and get some.
CSA, don't worry, we'll sort it out.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like, from all angles, you kind of get in, you know what I mean?
Bombarded, yeah.
Bombarded,
but what
man.
people respect is when you stand up strong and
Yeah.
stand up and represent.
Yeah.
Because even
And like they said in that the interviewer, he mentioned, like we've said in some of our previous stuff, statistic wise, black people again, for one reason or another, we'll have to go other podcasters go into it again and whatever, but we like most likely to get divorced, or we're most likely not to be married in first place, etc. You get what I mean? For whatever reason. And plenty of reasons behind it all.
well, the truth is, we are traumatized people, and we act like traumatized people. So just like I was saying about the relationship thing, it's like, it's a bit like when you move past, you're not with the person anymore, but you can't get over what they've done to you. Like they've scarred you, they've fucked you, they've mentally shagged you. Well, that is the state of current black people. And plus, I'll tell you what is a very confusing line.
Even on a physical level, because like I was saying the other day about branding and all that kind of stuff, no other nation, everyone likes nice things, you know, but no other nation puts the brand out there like we do. You know what I mean? So, for example, no disrespect as well, because we're all in it, we're all guilty of it. But you might have like an Asian man wearing Louis Vuitton. Well, unless you pull his tag or something like that, or look at the label, you don't even know it's Louis Vuitton. Our things them is fucking L's all over. You get what I'm saying? Because again, for me, it's like it's a bit of a show of that trauma. Like I need to prove to everybody that I've got Louis Vuitton
But here's a joke.
or whatever it is.
This is why it's embarrassing. Even when it becomes public.
And sorry to cut you, but I'm gonna let you get. But okay, go on.
Even when it becomes public knowledge that company
They are
is
racist.
we still buy the
You still
products.
got to buy it.
Now, the way I always pitch it like this, and I'm gonna keep saying it like this, right? If Ku Klux Klan brought out a line of clothing,
And it was shot in.
let's call it CCC. Yeah, had the logo on it, CCC on the back, and what it stood for with the or the KKK. KKK, Ku Klux Klan. That's what it stands for on the back, right? Are you gonna rock that? And are you gonna be saying, yo, I'm gonna pay £500 for them jeans in the car, yo? That's it. I've got the latest armor.
Well, that's basically what's going on, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got
That's
the latest
basically what's
Louis
going on.
Vuitton. So you don't even realize how dumb it is what you're doing. And the same, sorry, I know people are gonna come and chase me down, and they're gonna come and hunt me down. Do you know what I mean? But again, this is my opinion. So I'm not saying it's correct. I'm just saying this is my opinion. But the same rule applies. Like, for example, if Ku Klux Klan had a football team, and again, let's just say their football team was blue, all white.
Oh, why?
Yeah,
we're
with the
Red Cross.
Yeah,
Yeah, Red
with the
Cross.
Red Cross on the back and the KKK.
As the logo, as the
Are
shield.
you going to be playing for that team, and do you want them to win the championship? Like, are you going to be going fighting for them, and when you score a goal, you're going to go, yes, one, get in there, lad. We're going to top the league.
Truth
Ku
be told,
Klux.
we're probably doing it already.
But that's what I'm saying.
That's what's happening
it's
already.
dumbness. And you won't even be paying memberships and subs to the team. You're buying tickets and promoting their thing. Like, for real. And to be honest, like I said, if we're going to chase it back to its ultimate conclusion, because I know there's morons out there what are going to go, no, but, and they're going to have all these arguments and no, but, would you do this or would you do that? Let's get to the ultimate last conclusion, yeah? If there was Ku Klux Klan, let's say they had a a base that was like a resort where, and it's like a village, a town, whatever you want to call it.
Exclusively.
Are you going to go and stay there? No, real talk. Are you going to, when you get your camper van and that, is that what you're going to say to the missus? Let's go to Ku Klux Klan town for the weekend, love. The park camper van right outside the main lodge. Great view. We'll see them burning niggas. It'll be great, love. Come on, get it set. Who the hell is going to do that? Nobody's going to do that. You don't want to be there. You don't want to be around them. So then the ultimate question is, why are you in the man's yard? Obviously, we were born here. I was born here. I don't really know no better. I don't know no different. But one thing that has been made clear to me since I've been born in this place is this is not my yard. That's been made very clear to me. You get me? I'm just the help, or I need to use the slave back door. That's what I'm trying to say. This is not my yard. I'm just a visitor. And then that goes to the question of, would you rather live in a shed hut, but that's your shed hut? You own it, you're the master, you're free to go when you want, come when you please, do as you please. Or would you prefer to go and live in the slave master Ku Klux Klan house where you got nice sheets and everything, the carpet's real thick?
Well, it depends. It depends. In a way, what I was saying, in a way what I was saying earlier when we were talking about it, it depends really, doesn't it? For me, on the level, because because listen to how I'm going to explain it now. Yeah, so the man's yard, but it's not the man's yard, is it?
No, but
it's the man's developed yard. It's what he's took from you. So you're going to live in a hut because that's what he's giving you to live in. You were living in a palace before. He's stripped down the palace and built several palaces out of different strip downs, what he's done. And he's left you with a scrap to build your place.
Stop, but you're making
Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, but you're making it worse now. Because if you've teethed all the material from my yard to build up your yard, the last thing I want to do is move into your yard.
No.
The best thing I probably want to do is tear down all your
right.
shit and put,
but you're gonna
put
come
it back
back
into mine.
Listen, so you're going to come back for your materials. But here, what I'm saying now, if he's used 1,000 nuts and bolts to screw down that material, then you're going to have to live in the yard while you take time, pick out some nuts and bolts to be able to leg up. Before you come out the yard, you're going to have to build your own, aren't you?
You don't have to build nothing. You've got a yard. Remember, they chase you from your yard or they drag you from your yard. So as much as you want to try to deny or try to... And even people say, oh, well, when you go home, it's still they rule the home and this and that. Well, then, sort it out then, nigga.
Well, then that's it, yeah. That's different. That's different.
Sort it out because
different.
Now what you're telling me is this, all we're doing is you're making us just sound more pussy. So what you're saying is, not only are we having to live with the Ku Klux, but even when we go home, the Ku Klux is in your home with his feet up. And he's real comfy over there to the point where you can't be comfy over there.
Yeah, and that's
in your yard. So we're not even talking.
Remember,
about
it's not your doings,
yard.
you know.
It's not about doings.
It's not your doings. It's what you're born into.
No, you've got a gaff, yeah. And there's certain things unless you are on the gunpoint or something like that, cannot happen in your gaff. Like you won't allow people to come to your house and show you certain.
But if it's done already, and you're coming into that, if it's done and established already, say you're top man, yeah, in 19 whatever, and someone's come and took your throne and done you for generations after generations, they're now running shit. The damage is done already, innit? So the little generation what comes up and sees that and hears the story, my dad used to run things, but this man come and took over and whatever, he's going to have to get back that bit by bit because he's put in the work to establish what he's got now. Your dad had it, but didn't really foundation it like that. You understand? So what happened, whenever it happened, that ain't happening again. We're not running to know, for example... They're not just in one place, like I'm saying. It's spread all over. Everything, every network, every wire what's run on the ground, every pound what's spent in every place, no matter where you are, it all wires back to them. You understand? It's not like when we was just over there, so we had our things and said, this is our place. Look at our gold, look at our diamonds. We've got this, we've got that, we've got this. someone knows where to come and get that. But when you've then scattered that all about the place, where are you going to go to get it? There's various places you could choose to get it. You understand? So it's a bit, the war is a different kind of war now. It's a bit more complicated. It's not as basic now. It's like, we can't just run to Scandinavia and grab all the things and run back to Africa. God, it's all over the place. You know what I mean? So even like, I don't know, wherever you want to mention, like even Australia is a country where Aborigines used to live. But if you don't tell a young person that of this day and age, they wouldn't even know that because it's not obvious to the eye.
Possibly, but all I'm saying to you is this: we keep acting like we're homeless when we do actually have a home.
So, for example, where is our home?
It's just that nobody wants to go back to it.
Where is our home?
And nobody wants to go back to it, and B, nobody wants to fight for it, because all the two things are tied in. You know that when we go back, it does involve a fight, and no matter what happens, it's going to involve some kind of fight, and it seems to be the fight that everybody's avoiding. This to me reminds me, I said it to kids at school, I told you, everybody wants to see a fight, nobody wants to be in the fight. And plus, do you remember that film Fight Club?
Yeah.
And one of the missions on Fight Club was go out and start a fight with somebody.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to fight, like they was all disrespecting people hard to train. They wanted to fight. Nobody would fight. They even throwing water on people, doing all kind of disrespectful to people, and nobody's fighting. And it seems like we're in that scenario where like we'll take all kind of lick, we'll take all kind of box, we'll take all kind of thump, as opposed to fight. And I'm not let me just say this clear. I'm not trying to spew no violence, so I'm not trying to say we should be violent, because remember, fighting does not necessarily mean violence, you know. It means upstairs. Do you understand
combat,
getting your
mental
head right,
or
getting
physical,
your mind right. Do you understand? Appreciating that you are in a competitive battle in the first place. Not being in no denial.
That's an important first step for sure. Yeah.
Because when you remember what I just said to you
You're
about
in a war. You're in a war.
Yeah, remember what I just said to you about war. Remember, and you think about boxing and things like that. Like, if you hear your opponent wins, ow. Or if you see your opponent getting tired, do you know how much joy that brings you? The worst thing is this. This is the dumb thing about black people is we think the more that we wince to these people, the more sympathetic they're gonna feel. So we feel like the more we tell them that we're hungry and the more we tell them that we're hurting, maybe somebody will shed a light on us and actually ease up off our neck a little bit. When it's actually the opposite. All you're doing is giving the enemy great
to know he's still
joy.
weak.
To know that, guess what? One thump and knock you out, you're done, finished, because you're already finished.
Yeah, man.
Stand up strong, just like what they said to me in the gym. Like, no tight, stand up. What the hell is
even
this?
When if you know, even when you are
feel
tight,
weak, stand up.
Yeah. Whatever basic, that's basic combat, innit?
It might be. It's not even combat. This is just basic, like I said, manhood. This is the thing what father should be passing down to son. I told you before. I seen the kid in the park break down when he saw my XL bully. And I'm saying to you as a man, like from father to son, I don't want to see my son do that. Break down on his knees, bawling. This kid, he saw my dog. My dog wasn't even troubling him, wasn't coming nowhere near him, but he just had a great big fear of dogs. And he threw his bike away, like physically threw the bike, and got on his knees and started bawling and screaming for his brother. Like, ah!
You know, the thing is as well though, guys, you know, in order to build strong men, you need to like have strong boys. And the information what the boys them are getting, or the girls for that matter,
Xbox, that's what they're getting.
You know, it's not the right thing. And even how they live, like you said, if you even relate it to the Xbox, because when we were growing up, we was out from daybreak till time.
We're living in these little cotton wool worlds.
We was out. So any learnings. I remember when we were growing up, I always said this to the youth them and that, or even big people, to remind them, we didn't go home and say, Mom, this happened and that happened. And you know, when you go in and say, oh, how was it? Or what did you get up to or whatever? I don't know about most of it, but I just said, oh, it was all right. You could have had 2 fights while you was out that day.
Exactly.
You just said it was all right. It was all right, Mom. And gone.
Even time where this could be people after you.
Yeah. It was all right, Mom.
Tell people nothing. That's what I'm saying about being a man holding you.
Yeah. But these days,
you didn't realize it at the time. But these is all lessons and learns.
Yeah,
what you
we
go
just
through.
went out there,
You
we
get what I'm
come in.
trying to say? Same
Went
thing.
out, come in.
If
Went
any
out,
of us
come
get
in.
locked up, which God forbid, obviously, but if you get locked up, same thing again. You can't do no crying out, bawling in prison. What are you gonna do? Say, oh, he's hurting me. Oh, he's intimidating me. Oh, go and call the screw.
So that's what I'm saying. That the boys them are growing up
Do you
different
understand?
from
you're
what
gonna have to stand up.
the generations before grew up like anyway as well. You get what I'm saying? So there's all them outside influences, what impact on how young people develop, innit?
Glad you said that. Last thing before we leave, because I'm conscious of time.
Yeah.
Snakes, arrow sneaky.
Is what?
Everyone that said no.
Is it?
Keep talking, nigga. Keep talking. But listen,
Saying.
the last thing I gotta say is today in the news circulating around is let me get this right. 15-year-old girl in London been stabbed to death on the street. She unfortunately she didn't
Make it.
Yeah, she died at the scene. And all this air ambulance come and bus driver and everybody's trying to resuscitate this girl. And apparently it's some boy what stabbed her up.
Right.
Stabbed her to death. Now, I don't know the reasons why. We don't know the reasons why. Someone left a comment saying men need to be able to handle rejection better.
Okay.
So I
So
don't
it's
know.
the girl dissed him.
I don't know if the girl dissed him or if he wanted to. I don't know. But all I know is
Can be possible.
A boy,
Yeah.
and this is what I'm talking about. This masculine thing.
Yeah.
A boy has stabbed up a young girl. Now, I just want to ask you, how you feel about that? What's your thoughts on that?
What's my thought about you? Really asking me? Yeah, but for the channel and the YouTube and whatever, anybody who watches this thing and knows me, they know what my thoughts and feelings are without even asking. But just for the reasoning, it's fuckery, innit?
Yeah.
How else can you explain it? Yeah, it's fuckery. If it was even the boy stabbed up another boy, it's still fuckery. Anyway, but this boy stabbed up a girl probably because she's not giving him nothing. Or she's just
pussy.
Yeah, it's fuckery.
It's the
There's no other way.
because
There's no other
for a
way of
start, let's get
explaining
this
it.
clear.
Absolutely.
And this is what I'm saying about masculinity and about men. You're not supposed to be hitting no woman. I tell my kids this at school all the time. Like you got now. Remember, I said the girls are
You
masculine
can restrain
now.
them.
So you've got girls now fronting up to boys, going, "I'll
Yeah,
fucking knock you
yeah.
out."
You can
And
restrain
you've got boys
them.
saying, "I'll knock you out." And I'm saying to these people, like, look, you're not supposed to be fighting each other.
No. You restrain.
Girls, you're not supposed to be sizing up to no man talking about you want
As
to
well,
fight.
yeah.
And plus, men, you're not supposed to be looking at no girl if
As
you're
somebody
gonna
to
knock you the
fight.
fuck out
Yeah,
or
yeah,
all
yeah.
this stupid
Yeah.
dumb shit. That's pussy.
Yeah.
You understand? Fight a man. We all
However,
know, we all know them things back in the past.
I'm not telling no man to take no box. Yeah, don't take no box from
but
no
it's not
girl.
even that.
Still
Chris
neither.
Rock said it
But you
properly.
can use
No,
restraint.
Chris Rock said it properly. All you do is you hold them. and
Right.
You know what I mean? You have to.
Yeah.
Simple as.
Not no beat up and
Simple
fight.
as- simple as.
You can't be fighting
And
with
anyway,
a woman.
women shouldn't be so brazen to want to attack you anyway.
But they
because
can
again,
be.
We're going back to the same point again, where it's like, why are you attacking me? Why?
Yeah.
But basically, why are you measuring dicks with me?
Yeah,
I'm
and you
the
haven't
only
got a
one with
dick. Yeah.
Would you want to get them out on
Yeah.
table, love? Because I can guarantee you I'm going to win every time.
Yeah.
So it don't make sense you trying to measure.
But this is a good topic for another day, you know, because there's two sides to all that. There's obviously domestic violence and all them stuff there, but then there's also sometimes when it's on the other way, like a woman's come to fight a man, and a man does what he needs to do to squash that down, and they get to become blamed, don't they? Because obviously, by rights, if you know your thing, you're supposed to be able to control the woman, innit?
You know what most of the time is supposed to happen? And I even tell my missus this. Let's say me and my neighbour start to get into it, yeah? And my neighbour's got a fella. I'm not standing outside arguing with the woman and back and forth in over the fence with the woman. I'm going to say, get your husband. He's the one that's supposed to deal with the disputes. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I ain't reasoning with you because where's this going? I'm not slapping you down. You're not getting into it. Like, go and get your husband. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And in most times, that's what you'd say. Go and get the man, or go and get your dad, or go and get your brother, or go and get whoever. Go and get the man. But don't bring no women to me to shout. And I do the same. Like if my two women are shouting over the fence at each other. Do you know what I mean? It's my responsibility to say you in the house.
Quash it out.
And it's his responsibility to say you get in the house. And then me and the man will sort out the dispute, any dispute, what did it? But this is facts. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I'm not chatting no shit.
And years ago that would have been standard.
That's how it's supposed
but nowadays
to be.
it's
I don't
like
wanna be confronting no woman and acting like, you better do that or so I'm not. What you on about? No, bring the man out and I'll tell him that shit. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And if he ain't got nothing to say, then it's squashed then, innit? And if he wants to war, then we're gonna war then, innit? But at the end of the day, it's between men. Is how it's supposed to be resolved.
Yeah.
Not supposed to be no.
Before we shut off still on a lighter note, I wanted to ask you a question, yeah? Closing question. Because it come to me the other day, all the years I've been driving and seen people on bikes, never thought about it before. It come to me the other day after the people don't go in my car and thing, I think I was just thinking it. But anyway, so you drive a car, yeah? And you have to pay money if you're not wearing your seatbelt. That's in force. Like, you get stopped, you're not wearing seatbelt, you're getting a fine. So I'm driving in my car and I see a guy on a motorbike. You ride a motorbike as well. And he's got his little girl on the back. She's got a helmet on and I think she had a jacket or she might have had full suit or whatever. But anyway, she's just holding on to him like that. Like fingertips, basically. A good gust of wind could blow her off the bike. So I said to myself, but hold on a bit. If I don't wear a seatbelt in this protected environment, what's buffered, if I crash into a wall, it's buffered, because it's telling me I'm going to go through windscreen, I'm going to get fined. But then, if that's the case, then shouldn't bikes be banned?
Let's just make sense.
Does that make sense?
Let's just make certain things clear.
Because what's protecting you to come flying off the bike?
If anybody watches any of them like real car crash videos where they like test cars and all them things, you will know that basically, like, if you're going over a certain speed, you're dead anyway.
And on the bike?
Yeah, but let me get to it.
Go on.
The seatbelt is not going to save you.
No.
And it's just
The
like
bike rip you off.
same rule applies for the bike. If you go off that bike at a certain speed, you're dead. It's just that simple. There's no survival. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So in both scenarios, they are equal.
Equal,
However, if
yeah.
we're going to start talking about the 30 mile an hour zone now, which is why they tell people to go 30 mile an hour. It's just so if you have an
Impact,
crash, or if you have an impact, it's survivable. In the car, all you have is the seatbelt.
Yeah.
Like without that seatbelt, remember, you have no other protection.
You're gonna
if
bang your
gonna
head on
headbutt
thing.
the thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas the guy on the bike, he's got the helmet and all other gear. So it's for the same reason, if I come off this bike at 30 miles per hour and it's survivable, I have some kind of protection. So you both got.
So you've included the 30 mile per hour vibes and all that. I just wondered the outcomes I've got to put on the seatbelt, and
end of the day, if
a
he
guy
crashes
can
with
put a
his
little
daughter,
baby on back and
she's dead.
She's dead.
She's dead. But the same applies. Like, for example, you'll have your daughter in the car, and when you're driving 50 mile an hour on the
chances are you can die.
Yeah, you driving on the, but you don't think about that.
No,
You just think
until
you're
you,
just cruising with your daughter.
yeah.
But the truth is,
But you don't feel the
traveling
speed, do you?
You're traveling at dangerous speeds, and if anything was to
That's
happen,
true.
you two are both finished. So,
That's true, yeah.
do you know what I mean? It's
There's
just
a high chance
yeah,
that you both finish.
Yeah, so I hope that answers your question.
It does, but for me, it's still that same old capitalist bullshit. You get what I'm saying? It's just the way of making money. Whether they care whether you go through windscreen or not, I don't think that's the case. I think it's more because you get a chance to make a paper.
But we need to stop arguing over these little things, because one thing, because again, I've been in certain argument situations, and what I've realised is the argument don't do nothing. And at the end of the argument, it's always going to come down to what are you going to do about it. And real men stick to the what are you going to do about it. They ain't got no time for all that bullshit talk. You do all that bullshit talk. Especially normally you're supposed to say girls go over there and do all that fucking girly talking. We'll be over here with sleeves rolled up actually getting on with shit.
But back to what I was saying earlier, it's still about it's about that organisation, because the reason why we're not moving forward, because everyone's saying, yeah, we're not going to do no talk and whatever, but you can't make progress without a certain level of talking. You get what I'm saying? The random kind of, the way we approach things is this random kind of, we're going to do it, but then we look round and what have we done? Because we haven't discussed what needs doing, do we agree that it needs doing, and how we're going to go about doing it.
To a certain extent.
You get what I'm saying?
It's just like what you said about truth. Everybody knows what needs to be done, really.
I'm not sure, you know,
just haven't got the balls to come.
No, I'm not sure.
No, it's in there. Trust me, like you said it to me earlier. This is what he said. He said, you just have to hear truth. And whether you've ever heard that before in your life, you just know it's true.
So on a basic level,
it resonates with something inside.
On a basic level, you get the fine. Me and you, like I can ask you the question now. So you don't wear your seatbelt because you're a bad boy. It's a fuck seatbelt and red tear. Police stop you and fine you. £60 fine. What are you gonna do? about it. You've been all this complaining, you don't agree with this, that, and whatever. You get a fine. They even 2 weeks pass and they say, fucking, it's not £60 anymore, it's 120.
Like
What are you gonna do?
I'll always let logic, like I said, you're supposed to let logic determine the situation, not emotion. So I won't get emotional about the situation. I just pay the fine. Because it's the most sensible thing to do in this.
At that time.
Yeah, we're playing chess, aren't we? So I'm going to move my chess pieces accordingly. I'm not just going to sacrifice my king or sacrifice my queen without probable cause.
Yeah, because I suppose what I'm on about, and we're going to have to come to a close soon, but it's just that reasoning. I suppose what I'm on about, some of the I'm going to do this about it is on the back of ignorance. Not logical, not logical thinking.
Yeah, if you're just talking
so that's why a lot of the movements, what's happened previously, they've come to a brick wall because it's all, a lot of it's backed off just ignorant talk. I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna tough guy talk. You get what I'm saying? So on top of the masculinity, what we're saying, you have to also measure your tough guyness and
but that's why I like fighting and that's why I like boxers, because they do the tough guy talk. If you notice all these boxers, they do the tough guy talk, but obviously they get in the ring and walk. And that's the only time when you're supposed to do the tough guy talk is when you actually believe in your...
When you're involved.
When you believe in your ability or believe what you can do. Like I said, it's different when you're looking at it as something what I like... I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do that, you know. But it's different than when you think, I'm damn well, I can do that shit. And we have to start looking at it as black people. We can do it. And you know what we can do. Because we've already proved it a million times over. And that's why I want the talking to stop. Because at the end of the day, how much more evidence do you need? We all know what needs to be done. We all know what we're capable of.
For me, there's certain...
no talk.
For me, there's certain missing links what need welding back together. You know what I mean? So for like example, in the dancehall scene, you got... this scene what got created over COVID called Boombox Fridays. I don't know if you heard of it. Old school artists, Harry Toddler and General B and all these kind of guys created this platform, But recently, them two nearly stabbed each other up over argument because money's starting to come in and they think politics and whatever. So that's just one example what I found. But I think we've got some missing links where even with all the knowledge what we've got and all the knowing of abilities and all that, there's still them links what need ironing out and welding back together. One of them's how we manage money when money starts getting involved. One of them is how we work together. Because anything what we do together, even if it starts off in the right way, it eventually starts. Especially when money gets involved. Devil creeps in, especially when money gets involved. So it's when man decide they're gonna take their little money and buy a vehicle, or someone buys out. You know what I mean? People start watching and etc. etc. Or people see money and create an opportunity out of. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So there's all these different things that I think we need to get out of our system, as well as build on the bravery and the balls and so respect. Respect people anyway. I hope you enjoyed the reasoning. There's going to be plenty more. You don't know it's Rantz and Reasoning.